are listening to a High Standard production.
All right, man. Welcome back to another episode of the Geek podcast, only podcast that blend hip-hop culture and geek culture together. I'm your boy Deuces, and this is One-on-One with Deuces, where I speak with the creators, content creators, and people that you should know. And right now, man, I am speaking with somebody that is, I'm a true fan of his grind. I've been watching his videos for quite some time and his content and just like seeing this evolution. But I am talking with Clayton Thomas, Team CT all day, like whatever you want to call him. I'm speaking with the man. How are you doing today, bro?
Brother, if I was doing any better, I would be you.
Man, so how are things going in this pandemic with you right now, man?
You know what, man? Believe it or not, things are going better than they had been going even before the whole pandemic. Right before the pandemic, I'm on tour with Martin Lawrence. We're doing these arenas, and I'm super excited. Then I get the call that the final show had been canceled. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, they're taking this thing seriously, man. They got to do a shutdown. I'm like, all right. I had just, while I'm on the phone getting that phone call, I was on set of a show that I was filming that's on CBS. And I was like, I just finished my scene, so hopefully the edit still goes down. But they were like, yeah, we're going to have to shut production down next week. And I'm like, what? Like, this is getting crazy. Right. So it began, I come home, and I was like, you know what? Let me just see what I can create from home. And that's where a lot of the reaction videos came from. That's where a lot of the live shows that I began start coming from. And I took a page out of my wife's book, man, because I was like, oh, okay, well, we could actually create from home. And it became so much more fun for me, so much less stress, and so lucrative, man, that it was like, okay, I'm glad that this happened. So I'm amazing.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. It's that's kind of the same thing that happened with us. So like we started doing this podcast and we started like, you know, working with a lot of different companies, like working with like Crunchyroll and you know, just being at all these conventions. And then so this is supposed to be a big year for us, like convention wise, and then everything got shut down. So then we was like, for the longest, we've been trying to figure out how are we going to elevate the podcast. And I was like, I want to do video content. And so I started these one-on-ones during COVID. And that's kind of like, because it's more so just a time thing. Like I've been able to get all this content out and just like, you know, get people like you where I'm like, okay, let me just reach out, see if I can get, you know, we can match up some times and just get some really dope ass conversations going. Yeah. And that's one of the things, like it comes from like just adjusting to these times. And it was like, yeah, it sucks that we can't be out there and can't be on there, but you know what? It's getting us in my creative bag. Yeah. Let's figure out how we can do this and stuff like that, you know?
That type of thing. The conventions, bro, you talking to a guy that goes to conventions, and this year was about to be Power Morphicon. We were getting some big news at San Diego Comic-Con, WonderCon. I couldn't go to anything because of this. So I'm with you 1,000%.
Yeah, man. So I did want to get into that because you like how did you get to be the host of Power Morphicon? That's like one. Like I'm like, wait, how do you get there? And then like, how can I be a part of that?
They're the producer of the entire event, Scott Zillner. I've been a fan of this brother since my first Power Morphicon, and I found out who he was, the man behind the curtain, in 2014, I believe was my first Power Morphicon, and they do it every other year. So I came 2014, and then 2016. I came back and I had a little bit more notoriety at the time. And I had my boy, Aaron Coney, AC Talent Group. He reached out to Scott, said, yo, CT is a huge Power Ranger fan. I'm probably the biggest Power Ranger fan of all time. And he was like, he would love to moderate. And he was like, yeah, you know, we'll see what we can do. And I came, and brother, the first panel I moderated was Forever Red, right? Okay. And for me, the Power Rangers are legendary. Like before 2014,
I'm with you. You
know what I'm saying? The only person I had known was Walter Emmanuel Jones, which he's like family now, like truly, and I'm honored to have that relationship. But to be able to meet every Ranger that was available that year and to speak at Forever Red's panel and to be able to be with the fans. I told the fans, I'm like, look, man, I'm y'all. I'm just up here with them. So I think what ended up happening was, when you go to conventions, a lot of fellow nerds ask questions that they don't realize that the Rangers have answered a million times.
100%.
And as the Rangers, they're really nice people, so they can't be the bad guy. So I took the role of being like, look, I want everybody to get their question in. If there's like 40 people in line, I want all 40 people to ask a question. So please don't ask a question and say, this is for anybody to answer, because it's like, that takes too much time. Right. Or could you guys morph? Like, fam, they've done this a million times at every convention. They're going to morph at the end. I promise you. Just give us a different question. So, what were you feeling, filming episode, you were in the Megazord, and it's like, fam, let me tell you something about Power Rangers, bro. I know, I'm not saying I know this because I'm an insider, but I am, and I'm being able to share this. They don't remember half them episodes, bro. Like, they shoot.
I know 100%. So I got a chance to interview Steve Cardenas, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, when I interviewed him, same approach that you have. I'm like, I'm not going to ask the same thing, whatever, like that, right? So, of course, he was telling me, he voluntarily was telling us about the audition process and everything like that. But then I was like, I'm just asking him stuff. I'm like, man, what you jamming to today? Like, what you listening to? Like, you know what I'm saying? And like, what was your pump up music, at that time? Like, stuff like that. Instead of like, when you were the Red Ranger and then you got like, it's like, no, like, and that's kind of like why I really wanted to interview you, because like this whole process of our podcast where we blend hip hop culture and geek culture together came from like, much love to all the geek properties that's out there. Got nothing but love for them. I get a lot of info from them, but watching them, I didn't see people that look and talk like us.
Yes.
And so when I created it, I was like, I'm going to create this space where we talk about that stuff, anime, comic books, video games, but it's stuff that like nobody else is going to talk about. Like one of our most popular episodes, like we was talking about like, what do you think Piccolo be listening to on his Spotify? Like, is he listening to Scarface? Is he listening to Hove? Like stuff like that you're not going to get from any other.
Piccolo is a Nas fan, I guarantee you. And that's just because he's so off the beaten path. But yeah, I hear you. It's like, for me, the reason I accepted this interview, bro, wasn't because it's like I just enjoy talking geek stuff, because I do all day, every day. But the amount of people who look like us is so few, and I know what we get in return as far as you creating this amazing platform for your fans and to talk to fellow people like us goes on deaf ears the moment that they see your face. They're like, oh, it's a black guy. That means that this probably isn't the reach of comicbook.com, or this doesn't have this. And it's like, fam, first of all, how are you going to discount this man for trying to do his thing? And two, as soon as it blows up, you're going to kick yourself because you're like, oh yeah, that guy reached out to me. And I'm like, bro, how often do I get a chance to talk to somebody who understands what I'm saying without me having to go into what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny because like giving people that space to talk, like you being a comedian, you can talk about comedy all day, every day. But most of your interviews that you go through, you're not going to be able to talk about your hot takes on DC, or Marvel and stuff like that. It's not in the norm when you're on like an interview run, So like, that's why I'm like, when I talk about like with my homies and we're talking about whatever we're talking about, it's like that barbershop talk. Yeah. We are passionate. Like there's people, listen here, that there's people to this day that will argue the big three. Like, no, Naruto is better than Dragon Ball Z and One Piece Luffy. Like, it's like, that's you might as well be talking LeBron and Jordan. Like, exactly. That's how passionate people talk about it,
Meanwhile, what is while we're here, DC or Marvel?
I'm DC. Well,
oh, thank God.
I'm DC. However, my only asterisk is that their films are pissing me off so bad.
Oh, bro, you want to talk about film? First of all, when we're talking about Marvel and DC, I have nothing but love for Marvel. Marvel's doing their thing with the films. They're trying with the TV. The 90s cartoon series were so prolific because they were straight from the comic book. Right. However, DC animated rivals live action movies all day.
Bruh, I saw you said that you was like you said the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. That's like one of your favorites recently, right?
Bro, for me, because before that movie, Flashpoint was my favorite animated DC film, like by far. And then of course, The Dark Knight Returns 1 and 2, and then Superman Reign of the Superman, and then a part 2 of that, which should have been a direct follow-up from The Dark Knight Returns after they start releasing animated films. But Flashpoint was so fire. Then you get to Apocalypse War. It, to me, was a great sequel to Flashpoint in comparison to the films that they released after Flashpoint.
Right.
Woo-woo! I'm talking about it wrapped a story up, and it also gave us a rebirth. I just wish that they would have had the voice cast from, you know what I mean? Like, give me Kevin Conroy, give me either Tim Daly or the other voice of Superman. There are only really 2 prominent voices of Superman, Tim Daly and my man, he was on Scandal. I met him one time and I was such a huge fan, and his name is killing me right now. Oh, Newborn. George Newborn. So, bro, like that film to me, I watched it twice and I got goosebumps both times.
But this is where what's funny, like what you're doing with Power Morphicon and just how we're talking about DC and stuff like that. I've come to realize that is the best people to be a part of these conventions. So we have built a connection with Crunchyroll and Crunchyroll Expo, right? We went out there, covered it 2 years ago, and then we're just there every year now, covering it, doing live podcasts from here. But one of the ladies that is running it and putting everything together. So if you kind of like C2E2, how like they invest in like the look of it, like they got New Crunch City and they built like this whole cityscape in the convention center and everything. But the lady was a fan of just like Crunchyroll anime. And she started same way in Star Wars too. She was a fan of like Star Wars, and then what ended up happening was she would go to all these Star Wars conventions, and then they finally said, "Well, we're going to bring you on," and it kind of the same thing, bring you on as a curator. Then it became okay. We're going to bring you onto the team, and then putting that whole vision together and stuff like that. And then watching, I think it was the Funko Pop documentary, same thing. The person, he was just a fan of Funkos, like the bobbleheads, and he started doing the Funko Pop conventions. And like, so it's like when you get somebody like us or just anybody that's passionate about it and put them into that position of like, now I'm doing something that I love and I'm also a part of it, it makes it genuine, because I guarantee you those actors, they value with how you curate the questions, because like you said, they morph 100 times. They get asked the same questions 100 times. So when you're around, they're like, oh yes, okay, we got.
What's funny? Would you say that, man? So the first time moderating was 2016, and then I did it again in 2018, and I was gonna do it again, of course, this year, but the pandemic. But the first thing that all the Rangers said, like after one panel would be over and another one, all of them start coming up like, hey, are you moderating the next panel? And I'm like, nah, they got somebody else. They're like, oh man, I wish you were doing mine. Matter of fact, I'm going to go talk to Scott. And I'm like, all right. And then before you know it, I had like 8 panels that I was moderating. And so it was great in 2016. 2018 was very fun. A couple of the fans getting their feelings because they're like, well, he kept interrupting questions. And it's like, no, fam, I just know that these Rangers don't want to be the bad guy. Right. And 2, I want the 8 people behind you to be able to ask their question when you get to your, all right, this is a 3-part question. And it's like, fam, the 3 parts, fam. 2, I'll stall you out, depending on the length of the line. But 3, so it was interesting in 2018 because my popularity started rising and I began getting questions to me. And I'm like, hey guys, we're not here for this, but I appreciate the love. But I never wanted any of the Rangers to feel slighted or overpowered. So it was like really going to be a big conversation this year, because I'm like, what could I do that would be different? Because you look at Black Nerd Comedy, Andre, who I'm a huge fan of, I love that guy. He's now a Power Ranger. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because of the Hyperforce. So he had passed me a couple of panels. He's always been one of those dudes that I remember LA Comic Con came about and he's like, hey man, I'm doing a Ninja Turtles panel at the same time as this Power Ranger panel. Would you be interested in doing it? I'm like, they think we the same anyway. So yes, I'll do it. But he's a great dude.
So have you been keeping up with any of the Power Ranger comics? Because
here's interesting. So by force I have, because people literally DM me and be like, hey, let me tell you what happened in the new Shattered Grid, or let me tell you what happened with this. Yeah. And I'm like, that's dope. I never got into the comics because to me, it breaks my heart, and I'm gonna explain why.
Okay.
I'm such a Power Ranger fan, bro. It's not just me enjoying the fan base. I grew up with this, and I have a vision on where the fan base, where the TV series and where the entire platform should go, and how it should be presented to a new audience while still engaging the previous audience, because we're the ones who, a lot of these people have kids now. They've grown up and had kids, and a lot of their kids might be into it, but you have to find a medium to where it isn't super kiddie, but at the same time, it isn't too adult. And that's why when you saw the Power Ranger fan film, it was so incredible, because it satisfied all audiences, and it gave us a true story instead of, like, how about instead of 5 teenagers with attitudes, you start with a story of how they were when they were teenagers. So we're doing flashback, and now you saw a present day where you got yourself with this full beard and you're a ranger looking to pass your power to a new ranger because you're aging out. You know what I mean? Like, keep it keep it dope instead of us going to, hey, let's get 14-year-old kids and make them rangers. It's like, but where's the payoff? We know we've seen the story 80 times. Let's switch it up. So I love it so much. I want to be able to write on the show or be able to produce a separate universe of a Ranger story.
So that's one of the things that I've been said about the Rangers. I said, though they're all connected, and yes, we have all the Rangers, but I feel like they need to really flesh out the Ranger universe. There's so much, and even though I did not necessarily like the movie, I love the history that it gave with Rita, because a lot of people, like, I knew because I read the comic, but a lot of people was not aware that Rita was a Ranger. And
I knew that. Here's the problem with that, man. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm just so passionate about this. When I'm looking at the movie, I can probably imagine the things that you didn't like about the movie. I enjoyed it, and I'm going to tell you why, but I'm going to tell you what I didn't like first. The fact that Goddard couldn't speak. The fact that they didn't let Goddard speak is a major thing. Goddard is such a major villain for the Power Rangers universe. To not let him have an identity annoyed me. Also, what really got to me was the fact that when you're showing the Power Rangers, you made us feel, oh, I guess they got transported, but nobody teleported anything. It took far too long for them to get their morph on and actually fight somebody. Like, the thing I like about the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, although we were already familiar with the movie, they started the movie morphed. Like, people, you remember watching Arrow for sure, the first 2 seasons of Arrow on the CW. The thing people enjoyed about Arrow, and they'll never give it credit for, is the fact that they showed him 5 years in the past to catch you up while they're giving you present day stories. So when you do something like that, it's an art of storytelling that is so different and compelling that they didn't realize that they were ahead of their time. So with Power Rangers movie, it's like, bro, give me the past story of how they got their powers as far as we're looking back, and then give me the present day. And that's kind of what they did a little bit with showing us Zordon was a Power Ranger. And it's like, what? Oh, what is this? But they failed because they only showed us Zordon and Rita, as opposed to showing us all the Power Rangers being, with their demise, I'll say.
Yeah, and that's why I said if they flesh out that Power Ranger universe and just start giving those in, and that's why I kind of do like the comics, because one of the things, like, it's pure fan service right now in the comics. Like, that whole Turtles versus Power Rangers, that arc was amazing, but it was like pure fan service. It was like it was like every episode, it was like, oh shit, the Turtles and the Power Rangers. Wait, the Turtles are Power Rangers now? Oh shit. And then it was like, oh shit, wait, Shredder is the Green Ranger? And then it was like, hey, oh, now the Turtles are manning the Megazord. Now we got a Turtle Megazord. It was like, it was fan service overload.
Hold on. I need the dude in the back to sit down or come over here with us. What are you doing, man? Don't you see the interview going on? You just standing over the back the whole time. You don't even want to act like you gonna stand to the side. Jesus. He just grabbing stuff he don't need. Let me get this napkin over here. Sit down. Man.
But like, but that's one of the things that I was like, the Shattered Grid storyline I thought was dope because it extended. Like, so Mighty Morphin is like is mine. That's the one that I'm like, I love everything about Mighty Morphin. So it's like to be able to see that. But I get your your thought process of it has to have that balance of not too serious, but still something
because you still want the kids, but at the same time, and I've seen so many interviews with Saban, and of course, if you even watch The Toys That Made Us on Netflix, you'll see Saban say, yo, I did this show and we were having a great time, and then we saw the toy sales, and then from that point on, it was all about toy sales. So if you're going to tell me that each episode, and it showed with the series that went from them telling really compelling stories, and some of the seasons got back to that. I don't want to take that away from them. Like I got introduced to Jungle Fury and Mystic Force, and those storytelling on Mystic Force was incredible. But they got away from a lot of the storytelling in order to sell toys. So if that's the case, you and I can both afford toys for the series. However, a 5-year-old can't, but his parents can. So make it to where the parents enjoy watching it just as well as the kids, like we do any Disney film. Lion King was compelling for me as an 8-year-old, and now as a 30-something-year-old. It's incredible. Yeah.
And you know what? I've been very, very timid on trying any of the new series, because I remember Power Rangers, because I remember like, okay, so like I went as far as up to Turbo. Once they turned to Turbo and they got cars, I was off it. I'm like, So I'm gonna check out Mystic one, because like
Turbo, first of all, brother, I could not agree with you more. I get it, but let me just say, this is probably why the first Power Rangers movie was. After the movie, it was a standalone movie, and then the TV series was like, all right, cool. Here's how we're gonna get to what you saw in the movie and the TV show. So it was kind of like two different parallel stories. The Turbo movie was a completely different budget. It didn't look as crispy as I think Sony or 20th Century Fox produced Power Rangers movie. Then it just looked like a longer episode of the TV show. And then I remember coming back to school Monday and then coming home, and Power Rangers was like, if you didn't see the movie, check this out. And they literally had clip for clip what happened in the movie, and they just picked up from there in Turbo on the TV show for like, so this is why we look like this now. And it's like they didn't care about storytelling at all. So also here was a problem with Turbo. Blake Foster, great friend of mine. I love him. He's a great dude. But the universe as a whole, the Power Rangers fandom, did not accept Justin as a kid becoming a Power Ranger, because we were all jealous of Justin. Like we wanted to be a Power Ranger. So to see this kid be a Power Ranger and then grow up as a Ranger every time he morphed into an adult was disheartening. So we were all just like, I don't like this show. So they had everything against it. And it wasn't until Power Rangers in Space, that fixed the entire franchise.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm gonna have to go back and look into it, because like even like when they were showing something, and then I saw like the clip, and it was like Tommy, he had this morphin where he can turn to any of his old Rangers, and I was like, whatever this is, I need to follow this story, because I feel like that was just amazing, just to see him mid fight, just morphins, and I'm just like, that's beastie. Whoever thought of that idea, that was a smart ass idea. Because
that was the crossover. That was the what was that? I think it was Power Rangers Super. It wasn't Super Mega Force, because that was the Legendary Battle. I think it might have been I'm
looking it up right now. It's called the Master Morpher.
Yes, the Master Morpher, but I'm trying to think of that series of Power Rangers.
Ninja Steel?
Super Ninja Steel. Yeah, that's what that one was.
Yeah. And so, and like, because like between Tommy and Jason, I think they've been the most Rangers. So I don't know if Jason has a Master Morpher, but he should.
Jason, let me tell you something about Austin St. John, man. Austin St. John will never get the credit he deserves. And let me say, I have nothing but love for Jason David Frank. He is amazing. We all love him. But I feel like Austin St. John never gets the credit he deserves for, number one, being the guy to make Power Rangers a phenomenon, because before the Green Ranger came, we were all the Red Ranger. He was also super yoked up. We wanted to have some muscles like that. And he showed us what, like, I look at the characters of Jason and Tommy as two completely different people. Jason was all right, guys, we got to do it. Come on, everybody get up, let's go. And Tommy was come on, guys, if we just believe in ourselves, we can make it happen. You know what I mean? So you got one who's more peaceful than the other, but both of their methods worked. Yeah. And we got so drunk off the Green Ranger and White Ranger juice that we forgot about the original red and then the Gold Ranger. It was crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And that when the Rangers first came, like you said, that's what he had the best Zord. He had a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he was the leader. Like, yeah, there was a lot that we had faith in him.
Man, so much faith. And then Rocky came, which is Steve Cardenas. And here's a story that Steve Cardenas always says. He says when he joined the show, everybody always made fun of him for wearing baggy clothes, but he was really wearing Jason's old clothes. Like wardrobe gave him Jason's clothes. And it was so funny because it really did look baggy on him.
Yeah. The story he was telling, he was like, when they just like put out an open casting call, and then he was like, you know, because he did karate, he was like, I'm gonna just show up. And he said he showed up and he was just doing the karate. He said, but at that time he didn't know who he was gonna play. He said he literally didn't know until day of recording. He got there and they was like, yeah, you're gonna be Red Ranger. And he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, that got to be an awesome feeling, because it was like, yeah, he was like, I just used my martial arts. I came there and I just kind of did some martial arts, and then
Man, shout out to Johnny Young Boss. Shout out to Karen Ashley for being the Yellow Ranger and the Black Ranger. But Johnny Young Boss is probably when I look at everybody engaged with the fans, Johnny Young Bosch, I got to say this, man. Hopefully he sees this. I remember I was hosting one of the panels. This might have been 2018, and the Rangers were late. Like they hadn't even made it to the venue, and the panel was supposed to be going on. This is a room of maybe about 300 or 400 people, and they're in their seats. They're waiting, right? And all of the Rangers who are there are in the autograph signing area. I run out because I'm like, oh, man, I need to find somebody to talk to these 300, 400 people. And I go in. I say, listen, bro, I know you're signing. I know you're doing merchandise right now. But there's a panel of about 300, 400 people in there. And the other, I think we might have been waiting on the rest of Power Rangers Turbo, I think. Okay. And they weren't there. I was like, bro, would you mind just coming out there and kicking it with me? He's like, yeah, let's go. Let's go. He came out there. He started telling stories about Power Rangers. He started talking about his band. He started talking about all the fan interactions. And they love that more than what I think the original panel would have been anyway. And I have so much love and respect for that guy just for being a stand-up dude.
Hey, I want to talk to you today about GeekSetPodcast.com, the only place that blends hip-hop culture and geek culture together in one place, and the only place to get your official Geek Set swag. Go to our shop and view our wide selection that we offer, from the No Dubs collection, Big Bit Tees, Talking That Geek-ish, and more. Today, use code Deuces during checkout to get 10% off your next purchase. Then, take a picture and post it on Instagram using the hashtag GeekSet for a chance to be featured on our page and a chance to win extra deals in the future. So don't hesitate. Drop by the website today. Listen to our latest episode, watch our latest videos, read our latest reviews, and shop with your favorite geeks. GeekSetPodcast.com.
You know what this COVID-19 situation made me realize? So what? Like to keep it 100 with you with everything, like, so I am a fan of like you and like a lot of the things and the people that you work with, like
thank you, man.
Tahir, Kev, like all of them, right? And what I realized, because like I've had the chance to interview Kev and Tahir, and I'm getting CP next week.
Nice.
So it's kind of like the same thing that you are with the Power Rangers, whereas you're the fan and you're just up there with these people, right?
Yeah.
But what I realized, like from watching like your CT lives all day and watching Zooming with the homies and everything like that, we enjoy seeing those stories. It's one of those things that people, you know, that we like to hear, like not the regular promo run stories, but the stories, because you know, when I'm watching these things, I'm engaged in listening to like the conversations you guys are talking about. And one of the things that I noticed, and even getting back to one of your past interviews that you said, like when you moved from Detroit to LA, comedians really came in clutch for you as far as helping you out, as far as
absolutely,
and to me, and that's one thing that you never really notice is like you guys have a close-knit community that of comics, right? And I think that's why, like, your guys' lives, when you guys are doing that, when it's just long-form conversation, it's working because we're truly seeing friends, celebrating friends. You guys got inside jokes, but we watch y'all so much that now we're on the inside joke, so now we get it, you know, like we get the conversations, we get the jokes, but it's like just seeing that. And I think that is why those Power Ranger fans enjoyed that, because it's like, you know, he's giving us something outside of just the regular. And I think that this is why, like, so much of these type of content has been doing so well.
I think everybody enjoys seeing behind the curtain to a lot of extent. I'm someone that, like, you look at Zooming with the Homies, and Tahir does that show, I think, Monday through Thursdays.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, 2.5 hours. It's super dope. It's all friends. And then you see my lives. I do Wednesday, Friday, and I do my singing showcase twice a month.
Right.
On Sundays. And it's one of those things where I try to do minimal because I'm good in small doses. Tahir is one of those personalities that you can really digest all week, and he's great. But me, I know I'm good in doses, so I try not to give too much.
You selling yourself short, man, because it's like, you know, like, it's funny because, like, you know, like it comes like a family, you know. And it's so, like, once I got into, like, you know, just watching that content and everything like that, I'm just like, yo, I know who I want to get in. Like, that's how I knew that I wanted to, like, all right, who I wanted to get, because I'm like, oh man, I didn't even know about the twitching and everything that you do.
Oh man,
before that. Like, you know, I knew of your content, you know, so I knew of the, you know, like I said, the sketches, the stand up. I'm always watching the How Dare You? Like, I'm always watching those and showing people those, because I'm like, this is just hilarious. But so then, as I, you know, in this COVID-19, we're seeing more and more, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know. Like, when you was trying, like, you was legit, like, trying to give smoke to Patrick about Fighter Z, and I'm just like, I need to get him. I need to get in that circle, and so that way we can get some Fighter C bopping. Because I'm just like, but I'm like, I didn't know that aspect of you. And then as I started looking more, I'm like, oh shit, yep, this is another black nerd. All right, I need.
Oh, bro, I'm in it, Patrick. That for me, and it was funny because, and Patrick actually motivated me to do even more of that, because he's like, yo, I didn't even know that you were a part of this world, because of when I look at your content or when I see you on stage, you don't talk about it. And for me, I've never been able to find, because, you know, being a nerd that happens to be black, there are a lot of us that enjoy science fiction and nerd content, but there are so many more that aren't and that don't enjoy it. So when I'm in front of an audience of 17,000 people, I can't be like, yeah, man, you know what's crazy? You ever imagine a fight between Superman and Batman? I wonder what this, and then they're like, what? We want to hear about this or that. So I found myself not talking about it as much unless I was in a con where I know these people are going to understand me. And doing the Twitch thing came about because BT Kingsley was like, yo, you need to get on Twitch. There's a community of people that enjoy watching people play video games. I'm like, they want to watch you play video games? He's like, yeah, they want to. He's like, it's like a community. So I began doing the Twitch, and people start coming in little by little. And we, you know, I might have 10 or 20 people in there, and we are literally just kicking it about everything. And these people end up joining me to play games. So I'll play games with people who follow me. I'm like, yo, if you got Dragon Ball, come play. If you got COD Modern Warfare, come play. And now we've built that community to where when we on the Twitch now, I'm in the headphones, the crowd can hear my people, and now we just having great inside conversations. We're laughing. We're welcoming you to join the conversation. And then I get a chance to do cool stuff like this, where we talk about Power Rangers and DC and comics and all of that. And I think that nowadays it's more acceptable for you to divulge all the things that you're into. So I was kind of like an in the closet nerd, I guess, that people didn't realize.
It's when you see your content, that's probably why people don't think about it, because you do a lot of content with a lot of good looking women. And so, you know, the nerd life is like, that's not necessarily what we track, right? But it's just like, you do that, and it was like, you know what? That's dope, because it's like, no, look here. I told y'all, there's black nerds that are cool as shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's
I enjoy the company of beautiful women, man. So it's like I gotta mesh everything.
Well, that's the thing. Like that's why I'm always glad that Patrick is speaking out so outspoken about it, because like as much as his peers try to clown on him, them comments are different.
Oh yeah,
Patrick got mad women after him and stuff like that. So it's just like it's showing you, like, look, this is not the oh my god nerd. No, this is here. I'm tatted up, you know. What I'm dreaded up. I'm bearded up. You know what I'm saying? And the women like me. Like that's what it is, you know. And so I think that is really dope, because it's like it's changing all negative stigma or any type of narrative that used to be about the geeks.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, look, you got to get with it. Like, this is it.
Facts.
So
let me ask you this: what is everybody doing in the background? Are y'all about to shoot something after this? And they're like, "Oh man, as soon as this interview's over, we getting it in because we got to." It's like everybody's just kicking it. Then another brother came in. I don't know what's up, man.
So we actually we're calling it what Geek Set 3.0. So we actually just moved into this building. We are building our set. So we're going to be doing Twitching. We're going to be doing more of these interviews. So we're actually building and putting together our podcast studio. This is our other podcast host. That's my guy Bacardi. That's my guy Didge. And the other Puerto Rican guy that you see every now and then, that's Liv. So we're just doing it together. This is the whole crew. And so, you know, we're just trying to get everything together, get our set together, because we're doing more video content. But the Twitch, we definitely want to start jumping on some Twitch with you, man, because that's the one thing that we want to do. Like I said, I'm the content person, like as far as like knowing all the content creators. So one of the things that the visions that I have is like just kind of like JK News, like how like, when you do something with them, it's an all day thing. Yeah, we want to get to a point where it's like, all right, so look, like if this was when we was full set up, like, all right, CT, I'm gonna interview you right now, and then later on, let's get some Twitching in. You're gonna be on Twitch with Bacardi. He gonna knock out Twitch with you. Like we want to start doing stuff like that and running out of it, because us being from Milwaukee, it's like it's a little bit different. Not that many people come to Milwaukee. Yeah, we just gotta try to get creative with the content and things that we're doing. So they just happen to be here putting things together while I'm interviewing you.
I love it. So what games do you guys play when you're Twitching?
So we haven't really got a schedule yet, but Overwatch for the most. What else? Apex, Call of Duty, and then we haven't Twitch, but Lib is the Fighter Z guy. He gives out all smoke on Fighter Z. So we got it, and then I got the 64 here, so I'm gonna be doing Twitching on old school games with the 64, because I want to try to get that popping. But we kind of still getting the ideas together on how we're doing it. Nice. We were just testing the camera and everything yesterday, so it was just like trying to get everything ready and get, you know, so that way we can operate smoothly.
That's dope. I'm definitely COD Modern Warfare. I'm playing, of course, Dragon Ball, but I play people on Dragon Ball, but I don't ever talk trash, because I'm like, bro, there's this combo that can knock you into the sky and they keep you up there. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, somebody hit me with that. It's like, bro, but I'm playing that, COD. I have WWE 2K20, but I've literally only been playing COD. So I don't really trash talk anybody unless somebody calls me out. But for that one, my squad is definitely very talented.
I was watching y'all squad yesterday. I think y'all was Twitching yesterday on Call.
Oh yeah, Tony Baker battle.
Yeah, Tony. Are you your PS4 or Xbox?
PS4.
PS4.
But you know it's cross-platform, so it's like no matter what you on.
I'm here. Yeah. I mean, Bacardi is our Xbox guy. He's our Xbox guy and our Android guy. So we give him all we give him all the flack. So question then, when it comes down to like your Twitch and so like you have those battles, is there anyone that you haven't been able to get that you just like I need to get this one because I think this would be a dope Twitch stream?
You know, for the most part, and this goes back to your point earlier, all of these guys are like my friends. So it's like the newest friend was Patrick and Cleo, you know, or were Patrick and Cleo. So I know all these guys. I think the only person that I would like to get in a stream that I haven't is maybe at this point, maybe Batch and What's Good. Great guys, obviously, outside of entertainment. But I think that would be fun to play with them because Cleo is a monster. Like Cleo Thomas is.
He seems like he is. I'm not gonna lie. Like certain people, when you watch him, you like, I feel like they go hard in the game, and Cleo looks like
he's not even human, bro, when it comes to video games. Like if you ever watch his Twitch streams, he's on another level and it's not even fair. But yeah, all those guys are really fun to play with. But I think it's What's Good and King Batch, I think that would be dope just because we have two different fan bases and I think the interaction will be dope.
Yeah, no, I got to interview What's Good. I think he was my second interview on this platform that I'm doing.
Oh, nice.
And like he was so dope, but like I've been a fan of What's Good way back when he was like shooting music videos for this group called Trill out of Florida. Like so, like that was way back then. But it was one of those things, like same thing. Like with the people that I choose people that I'm truly fans of because they bring up stuff that they're like, oh damn, like I didn't even like weird to see that. And I was like, but it's dope because I'm like, I truly want to get that information and I truly want to talk about like that from that fan standpoint because that gives just a better conversation.
Absolutely.
So it's
better than like the typical stuff like, yeah, man, so when you're writing a joke and it's like, yeah. But go ahead. I was
going to ask you because I interviewed Pikachu Lita the other day and I thought this was a dope question I'm going to ask you since you are in that geek realm. If you can do a Twitch stream with anybody from like anime, comic books, who would you Twitch with?
You're talking about like a character from a comic book or like
a character. If you had to choose a character from here, like who do you think would be a dope Twitch stream with you? Like just based off of personality and who they are in their comics or anime.
Comics or anime. You know what? Believe it or not, bro, I would love to do something with Deku from My Hero Academia. Deku and me would get along great. I love his spirit and energy, and I feel like his work ethic and my work ethic are similar because I had this question on CT After Dark the other day. It was like, yo, what? I think a guy came on and asked, what would I do how did I know that I was going to succeed? And I said, man, there was no other option. Like I knew that it was always going to work out. I knew that I was going to be where I am because there was no other option. I don't accept losing. Like this is a dream and you go with that dream until you wake up and you go back to sleep and you have another dream. Yeah. There's no giving up. And if you give up, it truly wasn't your dream. Like my dream had always been to have a fan base of people that were truly behind me. And I'm still trying to acquire an amount of people that are riding with me no matter what. And, I'm going to get there. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I will achieve that. I
count that I say that's that Midwest mindset because I told Tahir the same thing. I said, he's from East St. Louis. You from Detroit. I'm from Milwaukee. And I said, I feel like we got that same type of mindset. It's like, look, we're going to get it no matter what. Because we are a coast that gets overlooked. When they talk about the greats in hip-hop, they don't bring up the Midwest where we have Common, Kanye West, Twista, Eminem, Royce the 5'9", Trick. Like, we have so many people, Nelly, like so many people in the Midwest that done. But what happens is they take our people and then they put them on the other coast. Nelly gets accounted for down south. Eminem, Royce and them, they get accounted for East Coast. Like, nah, this is all Midwest, bro. And so, like, because of that, and we're so used to being overlooked, like, we go hard no matter what because we got to work 2 times, 10 times as hard to get that, that satisfaction or that gratitude or just anything, just somebody recognizing us and everything like that. So
facts.
But you know what? When you go into your story, you can tell that dedication because you said your mom gave you $1,000 and then you was like, all right, by Christmas I'll be on TV, and you were like, oh yeah, I got all that. Did not have anything set up, but you just knew and you made it happen, and that's the same thing. Like I remember when one of the jobs, like I remember like when I also do music and I used to go like all these music conventions and, these TJ DJs conference and all that. And I just remember one time, like we got an opportunity to go to Bodyhead Studios, which is Roy Jones studio, right? In Pensacola, Florida. And it was this whole event. It was an award show. We was from the Midwest, but it was like, we got nominated for up and coming artists. And I'm like, all right, we're going to go. And then my job, I was working at Best Buy, and it was like, well, you ain't got no time off. And I'm like, well, I got to go. And I was like, so I'm just going to quit. And like, there was nothing like at that time. I was like, all right, we just gonna go out there. We knew that we was gonna meet Roy Jones and his record label. So I was like, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna grind. So we was the first people in the studio, last people to leave, to the point where we impressed Roy, and he was like, look, all right, I'm gonna do something. Like we want to put out. This is when they just got the Outlaws and they just got Chopper, Chopper style,
Chopper style. We won't.
Right. So then it was like, all right, we gonna put their album out, and then we're gonna work on y'all, and we're gonna try to get y'all album together. So like everything was looking good, but then he had lost the fight. So for those who know about boxing, once you lose a fight, if you're gonna go to another one, you got to train for like a good 8 months. And so he trained and he lost that second fight again. And then he changed. So like everything fell to the wayside, but it was one of those things. Like, it was like, you know what? I still took that as if we impress somebody and that person was willing to invest in us, that I'm going to keep on going hard. And that's the same thing with content. I was like, I just like putting out content. I'm like, I'm gonna just keep on going hard no matter what. I'm gonna reach out to people. I'm gonna put this content out. And I think that, like I said, that's, to me, I equate it to Midwest because of what we are faced with and everything like that.
That is true, and that is real. I think this is what people don't realize. People watch people in the sense that if you're doing something that is not the norm, then I'm going to rock with you. People get rewarded for being different. And people just think that it's like, yo, come to this studio and kick it, man. And then they come and they're either doing too much, asking a billion questions and get annoying. And it's like, get them out of here. Yeah. Or you come in and you watching and somebody drops a piece of paper, that person picks it up, and that person is just sitting there and they're listening and they're taking everything in. And then the person is like, all right, well, I'm about to get up out of here. Then people start leaving one by one. And like you said, y'all stayed there, and y'all staying there and y'all not causing trouble and y'all cool. And it's like, oh, these guys are truly serious. Yeah. I actually want to do something with these guys. That's how the world works. I remember going to a comedy club in LA when I first got here. There was a comedy night. The comedy night was Stairs Dine and Dance, Corey Holcomb, Joey Wells. Joey Wells is Kevin Hart's right-hand man, writer. He's an extraordinary comedian, incredible producer, Heart of the City. And a list of other comedians that have really big names would go to this workout room on Wednesday nights. There was never a crowd there, all right? However, the day before, Tuesday night at the Comedy Store, packed. We're talking hundreds of people. The industry was there, blah, blah, blah. But on Wednesday nights and on Tuesday nights at the Comedy Store, there would be comedians all over the place, young and old, because every young comedian wanted to get up because they wanted to get discovered. Right. Wednesday night, very few young comedians would go because they're like, man, ain't no crowd there. Ain't no point in me going, right? But I would go every Wednesday, and I would get a chance to develop a relationship with the likes of Corey Holcomb, with the likes of Tony Roberts, Joey Wells, Rodney Perry. The list goes on and on. And through going to this night, because the younger comedians weren't there, I had the opportunity to soak up so much of the game that they had to offer. And in soaking up that game, I developed these relationships, and those relationships turned into, hey, I need an opener. Why don't you come open for me? Or, yo, we're about to film this movie. Why don't you come hop in or see if we could get you this voiceover job, blah, blah, blah. And it was because I was in the right place at the right time. And it's because I was cool enough to sit there and know that they don't want to hear me talk. Let me just shut up and soak this game up and stop trying to be seen like my peers, who to this day, few of them had risen to the next level because they were so concerned with, I want it now, I want it now, I want to be seen, I want to be seen, instead of trying to learn the craft and develop the relationships the right way.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I approach these the same way, because I'm like, look here, like my biggest video, I think it may be What's Good's video. That one got like 3,600, like,
nice,
views, right? And I tell everybody, of course, some people, they're like, man, y'all should be having more. And I'm like, look, I was like, I'm investing in how it looks, like the way it looks. It looks like it's not just thrown together. I'm investing in this and putting this out and staying consistent, because once people realize what we're doing, and once people start, then those views and that notoriety and everything will come. I was like, I have so much faith in the platform and what we're putting out, with this Black geek and this blending of the cultures of hip hop and geek culture, that Like, I believe that once it gets put to the forefront, everybody's going to see it. So we're just laying that foundation. Because I know, like, when I interviewed Kev, like some of my peers, they was like, oh, man, y'all about to be on. And I'm like, they were like, oh, you should ask him this. You should ask him that. Like, afterwards, I'm like, look, he did the interview. That's all I need right now. I was like, he you know, on the show, when I interviewed him, like, he subscribed to it. So
nice.
And from what I know from him, because like watching his stuff, he's like, yo, I pay attention to everybody. So I know I may not watch it 100%, but I pay attention. So I'm like, look, he subscribed. So he sees these uploads that's going on. He knows what's going on. He may not look, but now that name is on it. He knows the name because I interviewed him. And yes, you know, Kev is a person that definitely could change our life, you know, based off of how, you know, what opportunity he gives it. But I'm like, it's going to be organic. I like, if he does not reach back out at all for anything else, he did the interview. I'm good with that. But I'm not going to bug him. I'm not going to be that person like, hey, yo, bro, yeah, I know you did. I'm not going to big bro him. I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, you know, every time Kev do something, like, oh, big bro, you hilarious. Like, I'm not going to do that because that's not that relationship. But knowing that he knows of who we are and knowing that he subscribed and he'll see it, that's all I need. Because like now, if he sees something that he likes and he has opportunity, then yeah, he'll throw it to us. And because of that first initial connection, it's still a good relationship. But if I become that pest that's always like, hey, yo, can you hook up with this? Hey, yo, can you do this? Then he's gonna be like, I don't want to deal with Deuces, man. Deuces is always trying to get something from me.
He's a great guy. He did the first episode of Would You Rather. I've always enjoyed his energy, known him for years. Incredible guy, has helped so many people, and where his star is going is crazy. He's one of the biggest comedians on the planet right now. And yeah, man, I feel like as long as you continue working and being consistent with what you're doing in your presentation and get him off the couch in the background, you're always going to succeed, you know?
One of your hot takes though that I thought was dope, that I've been on the same wave as you. Like you, Nick Cannon as a staple in the industry right now, and not just the industry, but in the Black community. Explain that for those who may have not seen that interview or that video. What is your theory on why that he is the Spike Lee?
Well, Nick Cannon has always created opportunities for others. It's like I recently got this DM that gave me credit for putting people on because they weren't known before or doing things with people on a certain platform, presenting them. And that's always been my get down because I saw it from people like Nick. Nick Cannon not only did Wild 'N Out, but do you see how many stars Wild 'N Out has produced? Right. Let's not even talk about the new generation where you look at Emmanuel, you look at DC Young Fly, Carlos and Chico and Justina, and all the list goes on. But let's take it back to Cat Williams got even more elevated from this show. Kevin Hart was on this show. Afion Crockett, Corey Holcomb, D. Ray Davis. Like these are all legends in their own right and have their own fan bases, but these are the people that he's also touched. So this guy who's quote unquote corny, or this guy that, oh, he ain't funny, he's not this. It's like people don't realize the trick. In comedy, it's not always about you being the funniest person. Sometimes it's about setting up the joke so the other person can shine. Nick Cannon can take a joke unlike anybody else. He can set up a joke unlike anybody else. He also knows comedy and knows when and when not to jump in. He knows exactly how to sell something. He literally made it okay for people to call him corny and made money off of it. Yeah. Hey, at the end of the day, call me corny, make a joke, do a rap, whatever, make me the punchline. Nick Cannon, Nick Cannon, Nick Cannon, Nick Cannon, Nick Cannon, Nick Cannon, Nick Cannon. So now my name is buzzing 80% more than it would have if I didn't say Nick Cannon was corny, or if I didn't say Nick Cannon and his wife Mariah, or used to date Christina Milian. Like these are power plays. The thing that let's take Kev and Patrick and Tahir and Doughboy and all these people for something like Roast Me or CP with the eyes and all of that. You're looking at guys that have allowed their flaws to become merchandise.
Yeah, Word in His Heart is a product of to hear messing up words.
Exactly. It's a product of him messing up words, and it's like this is now part of his brand. He's making money from it. CP got roasted about his eyes. Now his Twitch, he calls them the C Peeps. His logo is his big ass eyes. Like these are things that people use. It's an old marketing trick. So when you look at Nick Cannon, he's one of the greatest salesmen in the world, and he's introduced you to a completely new generation of people that he never once signed under a contract saying, I want to make money off of you. Right. Like he could have easily signed them under a management company and been making millions. Right. But he's like, no, I believe in you. Go shine. And that's no different than what Keenan Ivory Wayans did within Living Color, introducing Jamie Foxx and Jim Carrey and David Alan Grier and Tommy Davidson and so many others. Marlon Wayans, even though it's his little brother, Marlon Wayans is one of the greatest comedy icons ever, if you let me tell it. So Nick Cannon has introduced so many people. He'll never get the credit he deserves, and we continue to make fun of this man, and all he's ever done was trying to uplift us and make us be seen in a different light. So when I think Nick Cannon, I think of somebody who is so undervalued but so talented in so many different directions. Look at his music. I own Nick Cannon's first album, and I love it because it was actually fire. But it became popular to say that he can't rap when he can. Like, are we saying, here's the thing. What are we saying? Who are we saying can and can't rap anymore? Because when mumble rap came out, I was like, what the fuck is this? You understand me? So if this man who's actually hitting you with lyrics is being compared to somebody who's just saying, then what are we really talking about? Like, this music is about your personal taste. It's subjective. It's subjective, so much, you can't say it's kind of like when somebody says, oh, this person ain't funny and this person is funny. Like, that's your personal taste. Everybody loves somebody. There are people who love Eddie Murphy, and then there are people who say, no, Eddie Murphy ain't funny. Richard Pryor is funny. This is all taste. So I don't really buy too much into people's opinions like that when somebody's winning. People hate Kevin Hart. They love Kevin Hart when he was rising, but as soon as he got up there, now they hate him. So you can never really listen to people because a lot of times they don't know what they want, and you show them something, and then now you're the greatest thing of all time. Donald Glover is a perfect example of that. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say with Nick Cannon, that's why I say Nick Cannon is one of the smartest people ever, because I was like, even when he was shooting at Eminem, I was like, see, y'all taking it as like old school rap beef. This is not that. No. I was like, what Nick Cannon successfully did is he called out Eminem to this point where if Eminem raps back at him, Nick Cannon won.
Yes.
But what Nick Cannon didn't really want it, he was like, no, don't rap back at me. Come on the show. Let's handle it there. Because if Eminem does
ratings,
he still wins. Nick Cannon wins again, even in the bigger.
Even if he loses.
And that's the thing with Eminem. That would have been a really great episode. Eminem technically could have won on both either, because you think about it, if Eminem comes on that show, one, they squash that beef. Like, it's not real beef. They squash that, whatever it was. But also, you have a good time. Also, you get to take some digs at Nick Cannon, knowing Nick Cannon's going to be a good sport about it. He takes some digs at you. You get some new fans. You get put into a new audience. Like, it changes from Eminem being this angry rapper that we see so far, like these past few years, to, oh yeah, we forget Eminem was funny as shit when he first came.
Wayne Brady had an emergence with black people because of Dave Chappelle. Wayne Brady has always been black, but Whose Line Is It Anyway had a majority white audience. Yep. And he's so talented. We all know that. But, oh man, this is the problem of his mustache being so thick. It's like it goes, because you got a beard, it's like the tick of your nose, bro. Anyway, so Wayne Brady got introduced to us in a different way because of Dave Chappelle. So in that, now black people ride with Wayne Brady like, oh man, that dude funny. Is Wayne Brady going to have to So all of that, you win no matter what. And I think people look at Nick and they can say whatever they want, but I've taken a lot of that energy and applied it to my own personal business. These sketches have never been just random. I purposely do what I do. A lot of sketches you might see, I might not deliver the punchline. I might set up a punchline. I might set up a situation to where somebody quotes somebody else, but I still win because it's on my page, and you're going to keep watching it, and you're going to follow that person. But what ends up happening is people people just enjoy talking, and that's cool. You want people to talk. If somebody sees a video and 1,000 people say, this ain't funny, that's engagement.
Right.
If 1,000 people say, I love this, and somebody says, what are you talking about? You love this? This ain't funny. And they go back and forth. These comments are getting counted. This is engagement. This is why people that have, first of all, my fan base is extremely positive, and I'm very fortunate to have them.
Yeah.
But you do have those random people that enjoy spreading negativity. And with those people, they don't realize that they're helping no matter what. It's like, don't give energy to something you don't like. That's the bigger FU. Yeah. If I don't like something, I don't comment on it. And guess what? Now you don't have my view or my opinion. Right. But if I don't like something and I give it energy, I'm actually supporting you. Yeah. And idiots will never understand knowledge. So that's the beautiful thing.
You want to know what's funny? So kind of what you were talking about, like how like you do your videos. So that was one of the fan questions that I had for you. Somebody was like, how do you pick and choose your videos? And you're saying that you do it on purpose. What's funny is like, I can tell that you do certain videos on purpose because of like, so when I'm introducing people to you, I'll go to the, you know, how dare you videos, right? And when I'm showing the compilation, like say if I'm showing it to a woman, like the first thing they say is, oh, of course he's picking the white woman, but then in the compilation, then it flips and then it's Tangerine, like, you know, how dare you to the, you know, saying to the white guy, and then it changes that negative stereotype that they was about to give you, and they're like, oh, okay, it's equal opportunity. It's not just the guy leaving the woman. Oh, now the woman is also leaving the guy and everything like that. So
here's the funny thing, man. If you and I hate to ever have to explain art to people, but if you, not you in person, what I'm saying, and people who are watching this, if you watch my content, any of it, you'll notice you never hear me say the N-word. That's something small. You never hear me say anything degrading to a black woman. You never hear anybody doing anything to disrespect a group of people intentionally. So like, these are things that I think about while an idea is going on. I can't tell you how many how many cuts have not made it to air because I'm like, I think this might offend somebody. Like, my comedy is never used to weaponize. I use my comedy to only uplift and to make people feel good. With these reaction videos, a lot of these reaction videos have gotten to the upper millions, and I'm extremely fortunate. However, I had a video. It was this Latin guy who was trying to tear down this Black Lives Matter sign. And then another Latin man came up to try and stop him, right? I said nothing but, man, I love Latinos. They are our brothers and sisters. I love the fact that they are defending us even when we're not around. This is the type of unity we need to continue to celebrate because we are all in this together. My DMs blew up. One DM was like, yeah, man, you know, it sounds like to me that you hate the Latin community. I say, what? Yeah, you know, I just felt like it was a little bit too much hate for the Latinos. I was like, hey, man, go back and watch the video and message me back. No, I watched the whole thing. I said, go back and watch the video and please tell me where I said anything like that. 2 minutes later. Oh, well, I thought that you said, I was like, no, you didn't. You wanted to hear me say that. You're literally, people don't listen anymore. They just watch and wait to react. Yeah. So I would never say anything against, I truly feel like Latinos are our brothers and sisters, just like I feel like every other minority race is. So I don't preach hate. I have a big enough platform that I know the impact that I can have if I did preach hate. And I purposely keep my content unoffensive. I keep my content open to where I want you to feel welcome as a community with open arms, no matter what your race, sexual orientation, or background is, because this is just fun. So I'm very cognizant of every joke that we release in any one of my videos. And I make sure that in the video, if there's a situation where, let's say a woman is wearing something that is sexy, there's a reason. Yeah. Like, you have to watch, but what's the reason? It's not just a thumbnail. It's why is she wearing this? You know what I mean?
Have you done any voiceover work?
Yes, but let me tell you what's happening now, man. Tangerine does a lot of voiceover work. She just did this big campaign that I'm sure she'll be able to release after the news comes out. But let me tell you where I am, man. I am in the place that I don't enjoy doing anything unless I'm having fun and it doesn't feel like work. So for me, the voiceovers that I do nowadays are only on my videos and, you know, the lives. But I used to always want to get into doing cartoons and movies.
I was going with more so cartoons because so one of the things that I believe why you have such a good fan base with your videos and just in general is your cadence. Like when you do stuff like and you say stuff like and then man, like the way like you just like you stretch certain words or you say certain things, you know. And I think that is great for voiceover work. Like I can definitely see you on the Boondocks or something like that and being a character within there, you know, and you have one of those voices that people are like, oh shit, that's CT. Like,
I would love that. But you know, the business aspect is so different because with cartoons like that, like I see you had Carl Jones on. Mm-hmm. Incredible. He's a legend. I love this guy. I met him. He's super humble. He has so much humility. And then when you look at the business of television shows, a lot of times it might not even be up to him. It's up to the producing studio or the network that's like, oh, we want this person. And he's like, but these people are the ones for the job. Yeah. We want, you know what I mean? So I would love to do more, but, you know, hopefully the cards just fall where they may.
That's true about the studio. I don't know how did you pay attention to the whole John Witherspoon Jr. Situation?
Of course. I saw that video and let me tell you something.
It hurt my heart. It hurt my heart.
That hurt, man, because he's
and it makes so much sense. And I was like, oh, now I gotta look at this new season kind of funky. Because I'm like, who was it that was lying? Like I watched that whole video and I was just like, oh, this is killing me, man.
I low-key am going to text him and be like, hey, man, who's the guy? Like, because I know he'll tell me, but I have to know, man, because
I'm like, it made me so bad, feel so bad about it. Because I'm like, because when they first started rumoring it, and then I'm like, yeah, that actually would make sense. I was like, yeah, go ahead, let him do it.
You about to make me text. I'm texting him right now, bro. Hold on, man.
So while you're doing that, you are still big, heavy wrestling fan.
Oh, brother, yes.
Now I stopped after a while, but we have a brother podcast called the NWO podcast. They still talk about it and they're up to date on it, so they kind of help me stay up to date about it.
Uh-huh.
But with you, one of the things that they've been telling me like about like this current era is almost as good as the Attitude Era. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
That's interesting. I have taken a break because I enjoy it with a crowd, and I know that they're doing the best they can considering this whole pandemic. Yeah. But I can't, bro. I can't.
It looks weird. I watched one because I was like, let me see how they do it. It looks weird. It's not the same. It's not like the bubble. It's different because this is like there's because there's so much acting into wrestling, and they're still doing it, and it's just like. But there's no crowd, man.
And that let me know that the crowd truly does make a difference. I'll give you this. WrestleMania, the matches that stood out that were fire without a crowd were the John Cena, Bray Wyatt match and the Undertaker versus AJ Styles match. Those two matches were so good because they were produced. It was a cinematic match. It was like the Undertaker's match was in a graveyard. The Undertaker's powers were able to be summoned. Then you get a chance to see AJ telling the story. It was great. John Cena and Bray Wyatt was incredible because it was similar. We all wanted to see John Cena turn heel at some point. Right. And in that match, he kind of did. Like we were able to see a reimagined John Cena if he took the route of Hulk Hogan doing the NWO. It was so great. But now without a crowd, and the crowd that they do have gives them energy, but it showed me how much wrestling needs an audience because it's all about the energy.
So who is your favorite wrestler?
My favorite wrestler, you put me in a horrible position because I know a lot of these guys. I will say this. I know I cannot go wrong saying two of my favorite wrestlers are Trinity Fatu, that's Naomi, and the man Becky Lynch. those two, I'll keep it right there.
So here's the thing. I like I said, because I stopped before Becky's and everything like that. But that's she was the one that made me say, wait, who is this? Like, this is the because I come from the Attitude. Like, the Attitude era was my era, and the women wrestlers then are way different from the women wrestlers now.
Oh yeah, because the women wrestlers back then were doing bra and panty matches, and now they're really wrestling, which is incredible.
So, like, my favorite of all time, I always tell everybody, is Sting. Sting is my all-time favorite wrestler of all time in all platforms. That was, like, when he was WCW, when he was WWF, like it was, Sting was always. But Crow Sting, of course, was my favorite iteration of that Sting. Okay. But also Scott Hall. Like, I don't know, like, I was a big WCW person. Like, in the Monday Night Wars, I went with Nitro, but it was because of NWO and those storylines. But then when DX came, I'm just like, shit, like, it was hard to figure out what you're gonna watch on Monday night.
I used to hate seeing Scott Hall take the toothpick out and throw it at the camera because I used to feel bad for the camera guy. I'm like, that's so disgusting.
But it's funny because he thought of that idea. Did you know that he was also the one that told Sting about the Crow idea?
No.
Yeah, so Scott Hall. So the reason why WCW was thriving during the Monday Night Wars times is Eric Bischoff pretty much said, "All right, you guys can create the storyline." So So Scott Hall and
Kevin
Nash, they were writing all those storylines. They were the one that wrote Hulk Hogan turning heel with the NWO. They wrote those. They was writing the whole storyline for about 2 years straight, and that's why it was so NWO centric and so much in that.
Yeah.
Takeover. But I was like, that's dope. That's talent writing the storyline for it versus having other people do it. And I thought that was just so dope in regards to it.
Because they know their strengths, and Vince McMahon is a genius. However, I don't think he's allowed himself to trust his talent. Like, when I look at somebody like Dolph Ziggler, I hate the fact that he hasn't gotten the credit that he deserves, because he is an amazing wrestler. He's amazing in everything that he does, but he hasn't gotten the push that he deserves because he had the world championship in 2013, I think. And Jack Swagger at the time gave him a concussion. They stripped him of the title by giving it back to Alberto Del Rio. And from that point, he's been mid-card and never really given his shot to go back to the top. The Miz is somebody who came from MTV's Tough Enough. And I mean, MTV's Real World. Yeah. And he rose to prominence at that point. He became the champion in 2010. However, The Miz as a wrestler now is so much better. And he's an incredible heel. He's a great face. They won't even allow him to get the world title. And for me, Vince continues to push people like Roman Reigns, who deserves it, but we've seen him be molded. So they won't give it to the guys who have done it on their own so much more than the people that they're picking as their favorites. I love Roman Reigns. I'm just using him as an example. Bray Wyatt is incredible. Braun Strowman is phenomenal. I look at somebody like Titus O'Neil, who's physically one of the greatest athletes on the roster. He trips one time going into a Royal Rumble, and now he doesn't get the opportunity to be rebuilt. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's trash. That's super trash. All right, so we're going to get into wrapping it up. So a couple of things that we do. We always do some top fives. I always get 2 top fives from you, from the guests, and then we do like a recommendation, which is just telling our viewers something to either listen, watch, read, or whatever the case may be. So I always try to do one in your respective room and things like that. Now, I don't want to do top 5 comedians. I feel like you do it, so I'm going to switch it up.
Thank you.
I want to switch it up, though. I do want to talk about top 5 spots that you have performed at.
Top 5 spots that I performed at. Number 1, this is a 2-parter for Detroit. Number 1, the Fox Theater in Detroit with Martin Lawrence. That theater is legendary. There's a chain of Fox theaters, but that one meant a lot to me because I remember my mom taking me on a field trip. She was like a chaperone on a field trip with my school when I was like in kindergarten. And we went to the Fox Theater, and it was so big. And you talking to somebody that's 4 or 5 years old, it looks even bigger. And I remember looking at that stage because it was like a play or something for kids. And I remember saying, I'm going to be on that stage one day.
Yeah.
And fast forward to be able to be on that stage and for my mom to be in the audience and to watch me perform in front of, I think that one held 5,000 people, was incredible. The second would have been the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, which holds 17,000, I believe. And that was great because she got a chance to see me perform at a bigger venue that is also an arena in my hometown, opening for the comedian who made me want to be a comedian. And, you know, Detroit loves Martin because Martin, the TV show, was based in Detroit. So to not only be able to perform in front of my mom with Martin Lawrence, one of my greatest inspirations, but in front of my hometown, the town that I had left 13 years prior to go and succeed, to be able to come back and do that as Clayton Thomas and not as an aspiring anything,
right.
Was my second. Third was I performed in London January of this year, which thank God I took that trip before the world shut down. But I performed in London at a spot called the Secret Comedy Club.
Okay.
And hundreds of people in there. It was crazy. A show upstairs, a show downstairs. That because I've always wanted to go to London. I have so much love for my UK Team CT fam. And to perform there, incredible. That's 3. 4 would have to be... 4 would have to be when I did Def Jam this last time. Okay. Because Def Jam, like I say, back to Martin Lawrence, he's the guy that made me want to be a comedian. And I wanted to be on that show. I wanted to host it because Martin hosted it, you know, and to be able to go, and I had the set of my life. And a lot of times as comedians, we have good sets all the time, but they're never recorded. Right. Usually when it's a camera on, the set is just okay. But I had pound for pound the best set of that entire season. And I don't say that egotistically, like the comedians tell me who had done the show, like, you had the best set. It's like, thank you. So I worked really hard on it, and the proof was in the pudding. And it was major for me because my father, years prior, had continued seeing these stand-up TV appearances and say, you know, you're always thanking your mom and shouting out your mom at the end of these performances. You know, you'll never get no love to me. And I was like, you know what, man, the next time I go on TV, I'm giving love to you. So this was in 2017 that we filmed this in October. And I sent my dad a screenshot and said, yo, man, you're going to love when this episode comes out because I thank you at the end. And he was like, all right, I can't wait to see it. And my father died about 2 weeks after it aired, and he got a chance to see it, which was a huge blessing. And you know, I got a standing ovation that episode, and I said his name, so that's immortally, you know, in history. And the 5th would have to be the 5th time. You know what? When I think Nate Jackson, BT Kingsley, Keisha Hunt, and myself were a part of a tour called the New Jack City's Comedy Tour, where we went out in like 2009, 2010, and we just took ourselves on the road because we weren't waiting for anybody. And we went to D.C. Out of all the shows we did, I remember going to D.C. Comedian Eddie Bryant had a comedy club, and out of all the shows we did, that one stands out the most because we had fun. We were in our element. We finally felt like professional comedians. So those will be my 5.
That's dope. That's huge when you have that moment where you feel like I'm doing this professionally.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. That's super dope. Question that I just thought about. So being that you was like comedy, like obviously you're funny, but everybody always got like that one family member, like nigga, you ain't funny, man, like stuff like that. Who was the family member that you had that you finally won over that was like, all right, man, you kind of funny?
My mom, I think, and I think because my mom is just proud of me and she supports me, I think before, like, you know, you got to get good at something. It takes time. At the beginning of me doing comedy, I would be like, Ma, you know, because I was in college at the time. I was like, yo, Ma, I'm taking a semester off so I could pursue comedy. And she's like, you better finish school, right? So I invited her to a show, and I had been doing so good until this show. And I had her at the show, and I bombed. And at the end of the show, she just looked at me and was like, "So you going back to school, right?" And I was like, "Damn." So fast forward, once she started seeing that I was not going to quit and that this was my passion, and I start getting better and better. I think my first year in LA, I came back home and I did a show at a church. I invited her. I think I got like a standing ovation, and that changed her mind. And she kind of like supported me from that point on, in a sense of me being funny. And now she watches everything I do. It's like, "You are so funny." I'm like, "Thank you."
I thought about that because like same thing that happened. Like my pops, he knew that I always did music. I've been doing music since I was a kid, and like I never really heard him talk about my music or anything like that. Now, I tell people I'm more of a conscious rapper, and I put out this album called My Unapologetic Black Thoughts, a couple of videos and stuff like that. And literally, probably like last year, maybe earlier this year, my mom was like, "Hey, you know, your dad was watching your music video. He said he liked that one." I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Wait, like, what?" I'm like, because I never really heard him say anything about it. But it was one of those moments like, okay, all right, there we go. Pop's liking it.
I still don't think my dad supported me in everything I did, but I don't think he thought I was funny. And I think that might be like you said, it's like you really want your dad's approval. And I think that's why I worked extra hard for Def Jam and wanted to say his name at the end, because that was undeniable. Like if you go back and watch my Def Jam set, it was undeniably funny. And I would have loved to have seen his reaction physically while he watched it, just because I'm like, "Fam, you gotta give me that." You know what I'm saying?
All right, another top 5. So for you, knowing that you, like you said, like comic books and stuff like that. Now you did say that the Apocalypse was your favorite animated movie. What are your top 5 animated movies?
Oh, brother, top 5 animated movies. Believe it or not, they're all going to be DC, except I can't do that. Okay, the first one, The Lion King. The second one has to be the first Aladdin. Then I'm going Flashpoint. Justice League Flashpoint. Then I'm going to hit you with I got to hit you with Apocalypse War, just because that's a good continuation for that. And the fifth one, animated movie. Animated movie. There's an episode of Ninja Turtles where this was so crazy that they even put this back on TV. There was an episode of the early 90s Ninja Turtles where April O'Neil was mistaken with being the princess of some foreign country, right? Okay. And April O'Neil met the princess, and she was like, "Oh, we look alike." And then the princess befriended her, and she dressed her up as the princess so the princess could go live a normal night. However, there were people trying to kill the princess. So in turn, they were trying to kill April O'Neil, and the Turtles had to come to her rescue to stop the whole thing. And the reason that's one of my favorite, and that's an episode, but I'm telling you why it's in the movie category, because when I was a kid, the movies that were animated, even if it was an episode of a TV show, still came on VHS. Yep. So I watched it and I rewound that episode. I watched that animated movie literally 1,000 times. And that's why I can tell you what happened 20 something odd years later, because I remember it. So that's probably my fifth one. That.
All right. So now let's get into recommendations. So it could be anything. It could be something that you want our viewers to watch, something you think that they should read, they should listen to. What is something that you would like to recommend to our listeners? Viewers?
Outside of them watching Would You Rather, which is my new game show that is on my Facebook and YouTube page, because it's amazing. I don't just say that. It's a different show. I think a lot of people watch game shows and they're like, "Oh, this is fun," because we're so used to watching Price is Right and Jeopardy and all of that stuff that when we see something different, we don't really accept it. But this show is so creatively dope. But things that I watched that I recommend to people: Fargo. I watched season 1 through 3 in 2 weeks. It was so amazing.
Okay.
Fargo. I would also recommend you. This is just like TV stuff, or is like music too?
Could be anything.
Okay. I recommend people download Childish Gambino's mixtapes. I also recommend that they buy each of his albums because of the internet is one of the greatest albums that I've heard, and I don't think anybody knows about it. Also, Awaken My Love is the more popular one because he did Redbone on it, but it's incredible. This new one that he just downloaded, that he just sold, I downloaded it like when it came out.
The one that was on his website, right?
Yeah, what was it like? I think the album was called 319 or something.
Yeah, it was called. It was like the how long it was three. It was the date. It was the date that it came out, March 19th.
Yeah, so I was like, but that album is fire. I also would recommend that people watch this show on Netflix. There are 2 shows. I'm really big into murder mysteries. So Harlan Coben is his name. If you type in Harlan Coben, the series Safe will pop up. The Stranger, The Five. He has so many amazing series on Netflix that you will be glad you watched.
All right. So for those who don't know where to find you, where can my people find you at, man?
I am ClaytonThomas.com. That's where you find the Discord. Join the Discord. The Discord is where a lot of the Team CT fan base members talk on a regular basis. We trade memes. You can promote yourself. We have great conversations. I'm actually going to go live from there tomorrow. Huh?
I'm gonna sign up to the Discord and get active in there today.
Hey man, it's free. Like everything that I offer is free right now. So like you might as well get in there. And you can find Facebook, YouTube, Instagram from the website. You want to get merchandise, go there too. Go there. You will find everything you need for your boy CT.
All right. Well, again, man, this is the only podcast that blend hip hop culture and geek culture together. I've been your boy Deuces. This has been CT, man, and I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, man.
You like that video? Man, thank you for watching. We truly appreciate it. We got so many more videos on our page, so make sure you check them out over here. Hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so that way you can always be notified anytime we release a new video. You already know how Geek Set get down. We got so much coming for y'all, man. Check it out. Stay in tune.
There was a time where hip-hop culture and geek culture were at odds.